Friends, ladies and gentlemen, in just a moment we are going to begin the funeral service. We'll ask for everyone who's here to see the family, please let them acknowledge your presence, and then we'll ask you to please promptly be seated. We do need to begin in just a few moments. We'll all drive together. Just follow the car. But we'll get you right by the heart, so right at the family cars. And friends, before we begin the service, if you have a cell phone or a pager, I would ask for you to please take a moment to turn it off or make sure it's in the silent mode. Again, friends, at this time we are going to begin the funeral services for Marilyn G. Birz. Again, as a final gentle reminder, if you have a cell phone, please take a moment to turn it off or place it in the silent mode. And officiating today's services will be Rabbi Dina Feingold. As we begin the service, the rabbi will lead the family in the tradition of Kriya.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dina Feingold. I'm the rabbi at Beth Hillel Temple in Kenosha, Wisconsin, where David and his family have been members for many years. It's on. Are you not hearing me? I am speaking into the mic. All right, okay. Sorry about the competition. On behalf of the family, I want to thank you for being here this morning as we remember Marilyn Birz. Adonai ma Adam v'teda'ehu, ben enosh v'techashvehu, Adam lehevel dama, yamav kitzei lover, Baboker yatzitz v'chalaf la'erev yemolel v'yavesh. Adonai, what are we that you have regard for us? What are we that you are mindful of us? We are like a breath. Our days are like a passing shadow. We come and go like grass, which in the morning shoots up renewed, and in the evening fades and withers. You cause us to turn to dust, saying, return, O mortal creatures, would that we were wise, that we understood whither we are going. For when we die, we carry nothing away. Our glory does not accompany us. Mark the wholehearted and behold the upright, they shall have peace. Adonai, you redeem the souls of your servants, and none who trust in you shall be desolate. Death has taken our beloved Marilyn Birz. Our friends grieve in their darkened world. In their silence, there is lamentation. In their tears, there is loneliness. Lost in their sorrow, may they find the presence of loving friends. Hear them, O God, be with them. For Marilyn's love that united us in life, and which death cannot sever. For her companionship that we shared along life's path, and which continues through the tenderness of memory. For the gifts of her heart and mind that brought us joy and happiness, and is now a precious remembrance. For all these and more, we give our thanks to God. In this time of grief, we listen to the voice of our sacred scriptures that brings us the ever new message of God's nearness. It tells us of our kinship with the Creator in light as in darkness, in joy as in sorrow, in life as in death. Were you inquiring about the sound? Were you told that it was the wind on the solar panels? So there's nothing that they can do about it. I apologize for that. So I'm going to continue with the words of Psalm 23. First, I'll sing it in the Hebrew, and then in your folder, you have the English translation that I'll invite you to read along with me. Mizmor leDavid, Adonai ro'i lo echsar, bin odeshe yarbitzeni, al mei menuchot yenachaleni. Nafshi yeshovev, Nafshi yeshovev, Yanecheni b'ma'aglei tzedek le'ma'an shemo. Gam ki elech b'geitz al mavet lo ira ki ata imadi. Shiv techa umishan techa. Shiv techa umishan techa. Hema yenachamuni. Taroch lefanai, lefanai shulchan, neged tzorerai, neged tzorerai. Dishanta, dishanta, dishanta vashemen roshi. Dishanta vashemen roshi, kosi revaya. Ach tov v'chesed, yirdifuni kol yemei chayai, v'shavti b'veit Adonai, v'shavti b'veit Adonai, le'orech yamim. And together in the English. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. In his sorrow, Job cried out, Adonai natan v'Adonai lakach, Yehi Shem Adonai mivorach. God has given, God has taken away. Blessed be the name of God. An ancient people, we are well acquainted with grief and the valley of the shadows. Death and sorrow are not strangers to us, and yet the centuries have taught us that a good name endures beyond the grave and that there is strength in faith. With Job, we say, Adonai Natan. God, you have given, you gave us a loved one who will not be forgotten. For all that was good and enduring in her life, we offer the deepest thanks of our hearts. Adonai lakach, God, you have taken away. We pray for the strength to turn our broken hearts into an altar of trust, before which we acknowledge your sovereignty and love, as we now say, Yehi Shem Adonai mivorach. Blessed is the name of God now and forever. Let us take this moment to pray in silence with our own private thoughts and prayers as we remember Marilyn and think of her family that is mourning. May the words of our mouths and the meditations of our hearts be acceptable in your sight, O God, our strength and our Redeemer. As we gather here this afternoon to say our final farewells to Marilyn Birz, there is a deep sense of emptiness because Marilyn was at the center of the whole community of family and friends who are present. It seems strange that she is not among us today with her favorite people. Marilyn's absence in the room is like a gaping abyss. The only thing we can do with the space that Marilyn has left behind is to fill it with memories. And so let us begin. I'm going to first call upon her daughter Susie to read a letter from a close friend.
Hi. So my mother was blessed with a great many friends that she collected throughout her years, starting with a group of 13 women that she met in first, second, and third grade and collected them. There were 13 that they have kept in touch throughout their entire lives, including up to the very last days. And one of those women cannot be here today, but she sent some words which I'm going to read. And I'm just going to also acknowledge that she also sent about 13 of her family members here today, who I am very grateful that you are here amongst all of you. And I'm grateful that all of you are here with special memories of my mom. So I'm going to do my best. It says, this is from her lifelong friend, Bobby Fink. Marilyn and I have been friends for many, many years. We had a group of us who were close friends. Now we are down to 5 from 13. You will learn to live with the loss, but the wound never heals. I think the card sitting on my desk, waiting to be mailed, says it all. I should note my mom's would be 88 in 2 weeks on February 21st. I assume that's the card that's sitting with Bobby right now. It's a picture of two old ladies. One of the women says, "You'll never know how much you mean to me." You open the card and it says, "Okay, you will. I always end up telling you everything." Happy birthday. It's too bad I can't tell her about the many calls and texts I received about her death and what a fine, thoughtful, caring person she was. Please, Marilyn, rest in peace. Perhaps we'll catch up in the world to come. I love you. Those are the words of Bobby Pink.
Thank you, Susie. We know how hard it is to come up here and share anything at a moment like this. At this time, I'd like to call upon Marilyn's sister, Eileen, to share.
I want to thank you all for coming today to honor my sister. I know she was special to everyone here, and I know you were special to her. Thank you. For those of you who don't know, I'm Marilyn's lucky, much younger sister. Much younger may have seemed okay 80 years ago, but less so today. Lucky that Marilyn was my sister. Wilma, Marilyn, and Eileen were sometimes referred to as the Grossman girls. Wilma, the oldest, Marilyn in the middle, and Eileen, the baby. Marilyn was perfectly happy with her position in the group until a teacher, ironically enough, asked her if she was as smart as her sister. She was referring to Wilma, not me. From that point on, Marilyn played the role of being middle child for all it was worth, with all the stereotypes, poor child, smart child, etc. So fortunately, it did not seem to interfere with making lifelong friends, graduating from college, becoming a teacher, getting married, and having 2 wonderful children and 2 wonderful grandchildren. And now that's been extended for her. As all of you know, Marilyn met life straight on. It took all the punches and managed to meet the challenges with love, friendship, and a smile on her face. She was smart, outgoing, loved to travel, read books, do puzzles, watch mysteries, but most of all, loved her family and friends. Her home was always open to everyone. She was determined to live life to the fullest and never say no to anything. During a certain period of my life, I was traveling the world trying to cure diabetes. Marilyn and our mother pitched in with my husband, Michael, to care for our children when I was away, never complaining, always welcoming and loving. Without her generous support with my family, I never would have been able to succeed. Marilyn loved me. She loved my children. She loved my husband, Michael, with all her heart. Unconditional love. This was a true trait toward all the people in her life. Unconditional love. She will always be remembered for this. I love you, Marilyn.
Thank you for that beautiful tribute, Eileen. And now I'd like to call upon one of the nieces and nephews speaking for them. Robert, would you come up, please?
Hello, everyone. Is that better? So I'm grateful for this moment to pay tribute and celebrate the life of my dear Aunt Marilyn, or as many of us affectionately knew her, Auntie M. While she may not have been a wizard in ever the traditional sense, she possessed this special kind of magic, the power to make each and every one of us feel loved, cared for, and truly heard. As my mother mentioned earlier, I spent many nights under Auntie M's roof, and those memories are cherished treasures in my heart. Growing up, her house on East Prairie in Skokie wasn't just a house. It was a sanctuary for our family. Countless evenings were spent in laughter and in joy, whether we were getting rowdy in the basement, shooting hoops at the court out back, or simply lounging in the den. But it wasn't just the big gatherings that made Auntie M's house feel like home. Even when it was just the two of us, she made every moment special. I can still hear her saying, "What's cooking?" as she prepared dinner while I tackled my homework at the dining room table. And in those quiet moments, we shared stories, laughed together, and forged an unbreakable bond. As I grew older and my own family expanded, Auntie M's love only grew stronger. She extended her warmth and kindness to my wife Dana and our children, always remembering birthdays and special occasions with thoughtful cards and gifts. Her generosity knew no bounds, and her love knew no limits. As in Oz, there's truly no place like home, and I considered myself incredibly fortunate to have had more than one place to call home, with Auntie M being at the heart of it all. Her love, her laughter, and her unwavering support will forever be cherished and remembered. Let us carry Auntie M's spirit with us always. May her memory continue to bring us comfort, joy, and the reminder that love knows no distance. Thank you.
What a beautiful remembrance. Thank you, Robert. Yesterday on Zoom, I was able to see a picture of Marilyn in the backyard of her Skokie home, surrounded by her children and grandchildren, and I think a lot of nieces and nephews as well. I'm not sure who all was there, but that picture says it all. Marilyn lived to be with her family and to do for her family, as you've heard. She really had a special skill of connecting with people, and this, I think, is what made her the glue that held her extended family together and others as well. In turn, her family, as you can hear, cherished her. As we read in the classical Jewish text that extols a woman of valor in the book of Proverbs, her children rise up and call her blessed. And in this case, in these last days since Marilyn's death became known, it's not only her children, but the younger generations of her extended family and even her friends' children have risen up and called her blessed. So many calls and emails to Susie and Dave to let them know just how much Marilyn meant to them over the years. A woman of valor, as that poem in Proverbs is traditionally called, is an apt description of Marilyn in many ways. She was tough and undaunted when challenges came her way. Tragically, Marilyn was widowed at age 48 when her beloved husband, Alan, died unexpectedly. Marilyn had primarily been a homemaker and a substitute teacher prior to that. She had only been working as a full-time fourth grade teacher for a few years when Alan died. And she had to completely recalibrate her life and figure out how to provide for her family on her own. She did not even know how to drive at that point. But Marilyn had grit, and being the tenacious person that she was, she learned to drive and added many other skills so that she could provide for her family and thrive on her own. Her courage was unmatched, and she was proud of what she achieved in facing adversity. The great medieval Jewish scholar Maimonides wrote that just as a person is obligated to teach his or her child, he or she too is obligated to teach his or her grandchild, as in Deuteronomy, where it commands, "And you shall teach them to your children and your grandchildren." Furthermore, this charge is not confined to one's children and grandchildren alone. Rather, it is a mitzvah for each and every wise person to teach all students, even though they are not his or her children. Well, Marilyn was a natural teacher. Yes, she learned skills by acquiring a teaching degree at Roosevelt University, but she had a fundamental knack for teaching and connected with students that carried her through as a full-time teacher well past retirement age. And then she continued subbing when she finally did retire. She really loved teaching and she loved the children. In addition to teaching at East Prairie School, Marilyn was very involved in the educational foundation of the school to raise funds to augment what was provided in the school budget. She served as president of that foundation and often planned its major events as well. In addition, she inspired others to become teachers. Grandson Alec says that his grandmother pushed him to complete his teaching degree and taught him how to teach, how to relate to the students as people first and students second, which has made him a successful teacher. As a mother, Marilyn was always present for her children and supported them in their activities. She was a great cook, and dinner was on the table every night. She went to Susie and Dave's activities and made gatherings happen for other families in those activities, such as Dave's Little League team. She bought a piano to encourage the kids to take lessons, and that piano now has an honored place in the sanctuary of Beth Hillel Temple in Kenosha, where Dave raised his family. Marilyn's Hanukkah parties were epic, and her home, as you heard, was a home away from home for the whole extended family. The nieces and nephews loved spending time there, not just because she let them do whatever crazy things they wanted to in the basement. It was because her mantra was anything for the children. And she was kind, and she always wanted to show that she cared. And yes, sometimes that manifested itself in stereotypical Jewish mother behavior. Marilyn could be heard saying, "You look thin, sit down, eat, I have brisket." There was an energy of love and warmth in Marilyn's house. Marilyn was fortunate that after Alan died, her loyal group of 13 friends who met as children and their husbands continued to be a social community for her that she cherished until this day. And she never said no to a social engagement with them, but Marilyn did not rely on them for everything. She traveled on her own a great deal with travel groups and saw a lot of the world that way. Toward the end of her life, Marilyn had some infirmities that limited her ability to get out and about, but she never wanted to miss anything. And so she mastered all of technology so that she could attend a bar mitzvah remotely or watch a game on FaceTime. She kept up with everyone through photos and calls. And we know that her caregivers, Judy and Tambari, helped her quality of life greatly in these last couple of years. To the members of Marilyn's family, we know that the loss of Marilyn is very great and that there is nothing we can say or do to ease your sorrow. She was a tower of strength to you. To Sister Eileen and brother-in-law Michael and their children, Evan and Robert, to Sister Wilma's children, Debbie, Robin, and Stephen, and to the spouses and the great nieces and nephews, and above all to Susie and Dave and Alec and Emily, and your loved ones. Our hearts go out to you in your grief. Marilyn was very proud of all of you, as you were of her. Zichona livracha. May her memory always serve as a blessing. In the rising of the sun and in its going down, we will remember her. In the blowing of the wind and in the chill of winter, we will remember her. In the opening of buds and in the rebirth of spring, we will remember her. In the rustling of leaves and in the beauty of autumn, we will remember her. In the beginning of the year, and when it ends, we will remember her. When we are weary and in need of strength, we will remember her. When we are lost and sick at heart, we will remember her. When we have joys we yearn to share, we will remember her. So long as we live, she too shall live, for she is now a part of us as we remember her. May the memory of Marilyn Birz endure among us as a blessing. In your own time, O God, when we too are called to enter eternity, may we leave this life secure in the faith that in your light we shall see light. In life and in death, we cannot go where you are not, and where you are, hope endures. Sustained by this assurance, we invoke your name, Almighty God. I will continue now with El Malay Rachamim, the traditional Jewish memorial chant, and I'll ask those who are able to please rise. El Malay Rachamim shochen bamromim, Hamse menucha nechona tachat kanfei hashchina, im kedoshim utehorim, kezohar harakia mazhirim. Et nishmat Miriam bat Moshe v'Gittel shehalcha leholama. Ba'al harachamim yastireha beseter knafav leolamim. V'yitzror b'yitzror hachayim et nishmata. Adonai hu nachalata, v'tanuach b'shalom amish kava, v'nomar amen. Compassionate God, eternal Spirit of the universe, grant perfect rest in your sheltering presence to Marilyn Birz, Miriam bat Moshe v'Gittel, who has entered eternity. O God of mercy, let her find refuge in your eternal presence, and let her soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. God is her inheritance. May she rest in peace, and let us say, Amen.
Friends, this concludes the services here at the chapel. The interment and burial service will continue at West Lawn Cemetery in Norridge. For those of you traveling with us in the funeral procession, please keep the following safety precautions in mind. Please make sure that your bright headlights and your four-way hazard flashers are on. Please be sure to obtain an orange funeral safety sticker for your windshield, and we will be providing several of the cars in the procession with a magnetic orange flag to be placed on top of your car. Please do travel as close as safety permits to the car in front of you to avoid any gaps in our procession. And for your own safety and security, I would suggest not speaking or texting while driving in the funeral procession to the cemetery. As we do make our way through the various intersections, if the car in front of you goes through the intersection, even if the traffic signal changes, please do proceed with caution and feel free to use your horn liberally as we make every attempt to keep our procession together, traveling from here to the cemetery. Following the interment, the family will be returning to the late residence at 4757 Howard Street, Unit 305 in Skokie, and they'll be together again today as they return from the cemetery, Saturday from 6 until 9, and then Sunday from noon until 9 p.m. The family has also requested memorial contributions to the East Prairie School Educational Foundation. And again, that information is available on the service folder that you should have received when you came in. If you did not receive a service folder when you came in, we do have those for you as you leave. And for those of you joining us online, all of the information regarding Shiva and the memorial contributions is available on our website as well. At this time, I would ask everyone to please rise and stand in place. For those of you who've been asked by the family to serve as pallbearers, if you'll please come forward to my right as we escort the casket, the family, and the rabbi from the chapel.